everybody. In this video, I will talk about data warehouse architecture. Data warehouse architecture must able to support three major driving forces. First one is populating the data warehouse. Second one is day-to-day management of data warehouse. Third one is the ability to cope with changing requirements of users. Populating data warehouse means data warehouse needs data from external sources. So first, the architecture of the data warehouse should focus on extracting the data from external source, and we already know that the external source data contains noise, the data may be incomplete, there may be inconsistency, redundancy. So the architecture should support cleaning up that mess within the operational source system. It should be made available for analysis. The data that been extracted, clean, that those data should be made available for analysis. This is done on a daily basis after close of the business day. Actually, in the business day, users' queries are answered, users are served. So extracting data, cleaning, and making it available for analysis is done only after the close of business day. The second factor, that is day-to-day management of data warehouse, basically concerned with creating, deleting summary of the data. We already know that data warehouse contains huge amount of data. So to answer users query, it will be better if we can create summaries at the very beginning, and users query will be redirected to those summaries to answer their queries. We have to do drill down, drill up of the data also. So in case of the day-to-day management of warehouse, creating, deleting summaries, running of data, etc. are done. The ability to cope with changing requirement. We already know that users' requirement change with the time. Users will be asking different kinds of summary reports, different kinds of information from the data warehouse. To handle these changing requirements of users, data warehouse architecture must be designed like that. Data warehouse processes consist of four different processes. First is extract and load. Second one is clean and transformation of the data. Third one is backing up and archiving of the data. Fourth is the managing the user queries. Now let's talk about extract and load process. Data taken from the operation source systems are made available for data warehouse. Controlling the process is necessary. That means when to extract the data, when to transform those data suitable to the format that is required by the data mining algorithms, and to check whether the data are consistent. Data should be consistent everywhere. We can find same data in different sources, so the data should be consistent in all sources. So we have to understand, in case of the extract and load process, how to control or how to start extracting process, when to do the transformations, when to do the consistency checks. Within the extract and load process, we can find sub-process like initiating the extraction of the data. At the time of the extraction of the data, some kind of consistency is checked. Data should be consistent. Extraction process will be started and it will be stored within the temporary storage. Their data will be cleaned and made consistent. That is the part of the extract and load process. Second process of data warehouse architecture is clean and transform the data. This system process takes the loaded data and structures it for queries performance. Steps within this process are clean and transform the loaded data. At the very beginning of extract and load, some simple kinds of transformations are only performed. But to make data consistent, noise-free, error-free, redundant-free, rigorous cleaning and transformations are necessary. The data extracted from different sources may have different schema. So we have to make schema uniform. That means the schema of the extracted data should agree with the schema of the data warehouse. So we have to do rigorous transformation with being different kind of cleaning techniques to make data consistent. Within this clean and transform, we will be partitioning the data also. Partitioning of data means creating the small size data. If we are having a small size data, then queries of users can be answered using that small size data. So partitioning of data in order to speed the queries execution is necessary, and it is done in this clean and transform process. We have to create aggregates to speed up common queries. If we already know, users will be asking this kind of summary reports at the very beginning. So it will be better to create the summary and aggregations that will help to speed up common queries, that will help us to answer users' query easily and efficiently. Backup and archive process. The data warehouse is backed up regularly to ensure that data warehouse can always be recovered from data loss system failure. It is necessary to create backup of the data warehouse. There can be system failures, there can be some issues within the data warehouse system. So in order to make our data available every time, even whatever kind of failure occurs in the system, if there is the backup of the data warehouse, in that case we can immediately retrieve the data from the backup and make available in the real time. Archiving of data is also necessary. Old data is removed from the system and stored in another place so that the archived data can be restored immediately whenever it is required. So it is necessary, we have necessary to know which are the data that are not in use. Those data which are not in use will be archived so that it can be restored whenever we need it. Query management process. Query management process manages the user query and speeds up query execution by directing queries to the most effective data source. If we have created several summary tables, aggregate tables, then users' query can be answered using those summary and aggregate tables. We will be predicting what kind of information users will be asking for. So on the basis of the prediction, we will create summary and aggregate tables that will ease to answer users' query. On the basis of the user's interaction with the system and by analyzing those queries written by the users, we can know what kind of data, what kind of information users are trying to extract from the system. So that information will be used to generate summaries and aggregate tables. So it is necessary to use query profiles of users by query management process. It will be ranking the queries which are the mostly used queries by the users, which are the tables from which maximum amount of data been extracted. How many times users have asked the same kind of informations. These are the things which are included within the query profile, and that query profile will be of great help in managing user queries. Now let's talk about the process architecture. We have already talked that there are 4 different processes within the data warehouse architecture: extract and load, clean and transform, archive and backup and archive, query management. So in the data warehouse architecture, we will get 3 different software modules referred as system managers. First one is load manager, which is responsible for extracting and loading data. It performs simple kind of transformation before loading data to the data warehouse. The extract and load process is the responsibility of system load manager module. It is a software, not a human being. Similarly, data warehouse manager is responsible for rigorous cleaning and transformation of the data. The operation source data consists of different kinds of issues. Those issues have to be removed. Data has to be made consistent everywhere. So that is the responsibility of warehouse manager component. Again, data warehouse manager is responsible for backing up and archiving of the data. Data warehouse needs to do backup so that in case of system failure or data loss, data can be immediately retrieved from the backup and made available for the users. The data which are not in use for longer period of time needs to be archived. If we put lots amount of data on the real system, that will make our system slow. So it is necessary to analyze the user's query and know which are the data the users are frequently asking and which are the data that are not in use by the users. On the basis of that, we'll understand which data needs to be archived. So that is backing up and archiving process is the responsibility of warehouse manager. The last component of this process architecture is query manager. Query manager is responsible for managing user queries. It will try to provide answers to the user's query efficiently. We know that data warehouse manager will be creating different summary tables, aggregate tables, And this query manager will analyze the user query and check which summary aggregate tables are suitable to answer user's query. If summary and aggregate tables have to be created in the real time to answer user query, then that will be a very time consuming process. So there must be a query profile stored within the system. On the basis of the query profile, different kind of summaries aggregates can be generated, and those summary aggregates helps to answer user's query efficiently. Okay, thank you very much for listening.